comment, rate, subscribe. Merch in the description. Check out our Facebook pages. We got marketplaces you can buy and sell stuff on. This is my Hatchhyack Tragedy Scheme deck. 1 copy of the leader. 4 Oceania Shenron. 4 Deadly Defender Goku. 4 Dr. Leche. 4 Finn. 4 Food Mission Accomplished. 4 Goku The Adventure Begins. 4 4-Star Ball. 4 Instant Transmission 10-Sign Kamehameha. 4 Power of the People. 4 Tragedy Overground. 4 Android 21 Scheme. 4 Zeno Cosmic Unison. 4 Raditz Giant Force. 4 Super Saiyan Gotenks Absolute Unison. And 4 Super Saiyan 4 Goku Protector of the Earth. Obviously, if you see my other 2 blue Hatchhyack builds, you are familiar with the Tragedy version and the Android 21 version. This is the combination of both, so it's a hybrid build. Since both builds have a lot of similar cards, obviously being able to fuse them together to get a more interesting build, is always fun. I always like doing that, combining 2 decks together and create something new. It's just like when Goku and Vegeta fuse together and they make Gogeta, which is the best fusion, by the way. Fuck Vegito. Anyway, moving on. So the leader, of course, when a battle card attacks, the player who attack with the battle card can't attack with tokens or battle cards with 7 costs or less, other than the card they already attacked with, and of course anything 8 and higher can attack. So keep that in mind. Active main, once per turn, place the top card of your deck under this leader, then mill a card, then draw a card. To awaken, and the idea is not to awaken, but if you want to awaken, you need to charge the first 3 energies to be black, because you want 3 cards under this card. Alright, so pretty much on turn 3, you're gonna, if you want to awaken, you want to make sure all your energy is black, and you want to make sure there's 3 cards under here. So you send it to those 3 cards to the drop, and then draw a card and awaken on the awaken side. Same auto, 7 or less can't attack, as well as tokens. Anything 8 and higher can attack after this effect applied. And second auto, when this card attacks, it gets 5k power for the duration turn, and you draw a card. So it's a 20k on your turn when you swing, so you don't have to combo to apply pressure. So every time you swing with this to your opponent's leader, and let's say your opponent's leader is awakened, in order for your opponent out combo, they're going to need 10k combo power, like a super combo, for example. And that's without you even comboing. That's without you doing anything other than swinging, right? So the card you draw, you get to keep, right? But if you want, you can still use the 4-star ball, right, to further increase your power, and try to get some extra damage to go through, or force your opponent to out combo the attack. Always plan when you attack for your attack to be out comboed. So always plan for that, right? Don't plan that the attack will go through. Don't think like, oh, he has 1 life, this attack is definitely going through, because if it doesn't, and your opponent hits you back on the clapback and they win, well, that's on you, right? Make sure that you always expect your opponent to out combo your attack, block your attack, negate your attack. So play according to that mindset, right? That's the worst case scenario, is they're stopping you, right? So plan for the worst, which is them stopping you, and hope for the best that they don't stop you, right? But by them stopping you, that benefits you. So I was in a scenario where I was going to make a play, but I was like, nope, first attack. Because if my attacks fail, or my opponent plays a card that makes it where I can't attack for the rest of the turn, then I don't want to make a play with the idea of attacking more, but I can't, and then I'll be defenseless because I'll be tapped out. So don't go all in until you're for sure you can go all in, which is what I'm saying. So there's that. So always take into account your opponent will try to stop you, and cards like that do exist, like stuff like Protector of the People, Flying Nimbus, things of that, Violent Race, things of that nature. So keep that in mind. Moving on. So in the deck we have essentially 28 cards that don't have combo power, right? Which is all your unisons and your field cards and your Kamehameha negate. But I count Protective People as a combo card because once you trigger its effect, it will give your leader the ability to keep getting 5k power every time it gets attacked by a battle card. So I count that as combo power. So technically this adds combo power. And everything else you can combo, just like the 4-star ball. It's meant to be used for you to combo defensively, of course, not offensively, because that'd be a waste. Unless you're trying to force your opponent to out combo your attack, aka waste cards, give up hand advantage, then go for it. But typically you want to use this defensively. But sometimes you can kind of get away with attacking. Use one 4-star ball when you attack to force your opponent to try to out combo, and then keep one in your hand. So when they try to attack you, you can use it to combo defensively. Also, this is useful for discarding for card effects like Protective People, Oceanus Shenron, as well as if your opponent has a hand control strategy where they're making you discard cards. More so, you want them to make you discard, not warp. I mean, you don't want them to do anything to your hand, but you rather their effects be discard, not warp, because warping their 4-star balls would be a bad thing. When it comes to warping your cards, obviously keep that in mind. Warp your black battle cards because your Kamehameha will always let you put your black battle cards back in your drop. Obviously, you don't want your best stuff to be in the drop, right? Like your negates and stuff. So you want to warp stuff that has graveyard effects, like Dr. Leche. You can bring him back from the drop with his own effect. So it's okay if you warp him from your opponent's warp a card from your hand effect, and then use Kamehameha, put it back in the drop, and then you can always play it from the drop to the field. So keep that in mind. Fu, Mission Accomplished. He can grab anything from the warp or drop. So we have him. So he helps us in that situation, right? Warp or drop. So so if we do put like if you do warp your Oceanus, for example, you can always use this to get her back, and then use her for defense, right? Obviously, she's a blocker, plus she counterattacks, plus she has a floodgate-like ability that when your opponent would attack, they mill top 4 cards of the deck if you played this after you played the effect of another card like a negate. Alright, so there's that. Deadly Defender Goku has barrier. It makes her, if it's a risk mode in your opponent's turn, it makes it where you can't attack, your opponent can't attack your leader, so they have to attack this first or try to get rid of it. It has barriers, so it'd be harder to get rid of. Not impossible, but harder. If you use the 4-star ball to protect it, you'll keep it in the game longer, which is the optimal idea, is to keep this on the board longer. Especially if you can get 2 of these out, is always good, because even if they manage to take one down, you still have another. So technically, in the right conditions, Deadly Defenders can potentially stop 2 attacks per turn, and typically your opponent will have maximum 3 attacks, which is a leader swing, unison swing, and battle card swing. Typically, if they have more than that, it's because they put in the effort to have more than that. Like, they have a unison, they can attack twice. A leader, they can attack twice. A battle card, attack twice. All the usual stuff. So be aware that that's possible. And there are some battle cards that could cheat out that has triple attacks, so keep that in mind. So the idea is always to reduce the attacks to less than 3. And like I said, Dr. Leche is a reusable blocker. Finn is essentially a board wipe. You play from your hand. Essentially, leader is black. When this card is played from your hand, your opponent chooses one of their battle cards to keep, right? And the rest of their battle cards get warped. So it's essentially a board wipe. More likely, your opponent's battle cards will be in rest mode in that situation. So when you play this, they'll probably pick one. The rest will get warped, and you could use this plus leader. And if you have a unison, right, and swing at their the battle card that survived this effect, you can attack it and get rid of it if need be. And that's if you awaken the leader. I do keep mentioning you could swing with the leader, but that's if you awaken the leader. If you don't awaken the leader, obviously you won't have the leader to use for swinging. Already mentioned what you can do with Fu. Obviously, Kaioken Goku is a reusable negate. For 1 black energy, you can add it back to hand by warping 2 cards. Typically, you want to warp black battle cards, so that when you do use this to negate a card, you can put those black battle cards back into your drop. Typically, what you want to warp for that effect would be Fu or Dr. Leche. That's what I usually do, because once I use this to put them back in the drop, then I can use them because they have drop area effects. So the synergy there. Power of the people, negate an attack, and then discard a card, and your leader gets a 5k boost every time your opponent attacks it with a battle card. Tragedy Overground. When you activate it, choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place them into the owner's energy and rest mode. So essentially, a board wipe. And then has the floodgate ability of when your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost 4 or more, place into the opponent's energy area and rest mode instead. So essentially, it's a counter, like a floodgate counter, which is nice. Angel 21 scheme makes it where once per turn, when you or your opponent plays a non-token battle card, it can't attack for the duration of the turn. So it will slow down your opponent's ability to summon and attack, which means you'll be using less negates and blockers and this and third to try to survive a turn, which is always the goal. Survive a turn, right? And then when you play a black battle card, place it into an orange drop area. Now, some people have an issue with that effect. They don't like it, obviously. I agree, I'm not a fan of it having that effect, but I understand that they added that because they wanted to prevent people from wanting to put this in Hatchhyack and spam it, because it does come in the same set, ironically. So not surprised that this has that condition. That if you play a black battle card, it will go to the drop. But you're supposed to play all your good stuff, all your black cards first, right? And then play this. Because typically the way this deck works, the way I play anyway, or I should say the way I play, is I'm trying to I'm trying to use my unisons more. My unisons are essentially my creatures. They're my attackers, right? They're my main cards. While the battle cards that I use, they're support. They're there to support the unisons. So it's vice versa. So since the creations of unisons, I'm mainly focused on getting the unison out there and having the unison stay out there and put in work for me. So my battle cards are pawns. They're disposable. They're meant to be used and abused, right? Meant to be used and lose. You use them and you lose them. You use them and you lose them. But unisons, you want them to stick on the field. You want them to stay. You want them to put in work. They're your main workhorse. They're your permanents, right? Once you put them on the field, they tend to stick. Just like your unison. Your leader tends to stick on the field. It tends to stay there, just like your field cards. So that's how I play. I'm unison first in mindset. It's like unisons, then battle cards, right? A lot of people think opposite. It's like, oh, too many unisons in the deck. Is like, but that's what I'm playing with. That's what I'm battling. That's my main cards is the unisons. The battle cards are support. They're just extra. Yes, use them for combo power. Use them for whatever effects they have. But the unisons are the main workhorse. They're the main cards of the decks. That's why I put a certain amount of them. That's why I got early game unisons, which are typically 1 or 2 drops. Then you got mid game unisons, which are 3 and 4 drops, and then you got late game unisons, which are usually 5 and higher. Right? So that's why we got a 5 drop here, we got a 4 drop here, we got a 3 drop here, and we got a 2 drop here. Right? So early game, mid game, late game. So we got 16 unisons, yes, but they all serve a purpose. Now, granted, this 2 drop, you're not going to use it early game. This is more, you're going to use it, for its -5, so therefore it's more of a late game card because it's a board wipe on top of like how this is a board wipe, while you'll be using these two, mid game. Which is why, yes, you have to start charging blue as soon as turn 1, so that way turn 3, Raditz hits the field, puts in work, and if he gets taken off the board, that's all right. Turn 4, drop this, and go and use the -3 ability, use the fact that it's a dual attacker and a blocker on top of that, take advantage of all that good stuff. If you get to turn 5, then almighty push your opponent's board back into their hand, and go from there, and push, and get. Increase your chances of getting to turn 6, right? And turn 7. Further turns where you'll have more energy that you can play bigger stuff like your Tragedy Overground. And that's the end of the video.